if you're serious about your career, if you're serious about changing your life, if you're serious about thinking of doing a business, you're in a business, this is it, man.
Welcome to the Unstoppables. This is the place where we turn those intentions, those ideas, those concepts, maybe those dreams. You know those dreams for a better life, a better way of life, a better lifestyle for you and your family. This is where we turn those intentions and dreams into dollars. And you know how we do it? We have great guests, people who have done things before. Not people who come on as a debutante or a dilettante, people who haven't done anything, people of substance. Now, this guy has real substance. He's not only the judge, that's his name, Judge Graham, he's my personal friend, and we're showing off each other's colors. Welcome to the Unstoppables, my friend, Judge Graham.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Look at this. See the mug? I love it.
Like seeks like. You know, the first time we did a show, I was in New York.
Yep.
Did a show with you and just flat out loved you.
Yeah.
You only had one black mark. You like the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
That kind of put me back a little bit, but I rebounded.
Yeah, we did.
You sent me a hat and you sent me a great book. And this is fresh off the press. I got an autographed copy, which I'm very proud of. I actually read your book because no one reads books anymore.
Yeah, thank you.
You don't. I read your book, and I think you're on to something huge with this book because you taught me stuff that I read the book. I had one regret. Damn, I wish I would have had this book when I started.
Boom! I love that.
Different place right now, I'm telling you.
Thank you.
Judge, we got to go back to go forward. Mm-hmm. You are what I call a serial entrepreneur and a very effective serial entrepreneur. You've taken companies and created from nothing, scratch, multi-million-dollar sales, right? I mean, you've sold those companies for multi-million dollars. Give me some of your journey from where you started and how you started doing this to where you are now.
Yeah, I've always, similar to you, it's in my blood, right? I mean, I love the sport of business. And even from a young kid, I was selling things. So my mom was an art teacher and it was selling pencils to beepers, to watches, to always having some sort of business and understanding the power of selling, right? Persuasion, understanding how to solve a pain or help fulfill a dream through something that you have, right? And I've always had that spirit in me, right? And so I started that when I was a young age and then all the way up to college with my first company and just never looked back, right? But I think for me, it was always about serving and selling and believing in what you're doing, right? I think a lot of people fail in if you don't believe, I don't care if you're selling a freaking car, you're selling a book, you're the guy that's selling these coffee mugs. You got to believe in what you're doing. And I think everything I've ever done, I know and believe it's going to help. And that's been a big part of my mindset towards success.
Let me jump in on that because that's a huge point. You mentioned three things that I wrote down. Serve first, sell, and believe. And people, I always say, Judge, they're going to buy the messenger before they ever try to listen to the message.
Yeah.
You have a conviction, a belief, a confident way that you're going to get things done. They're going to believe in you. They're going to follow you no matter what you're selling, whether it's cups, hats, books, but you better have substance and credibility behind it. And that starts with service. So jump back in. That's a great point right there.
Yeah. So that part of that. And then I learned, my first business failed, grew that company, and I didn't have recurring revenue. I was a young kid, early 20s, and the business was scaling, but I couldn't keep up. And you'll appreciate this. If you're in sales, it's a freaking new day every day, baby, right? And the bigger you get, the more overhead you have, the software, the people. And so on paper, we were killing it, right? But if you forecast it out, I was only good as my next best day, right? And that was a project-based business, and that business failed. And what I learned from that business is you got to have project-based sales, but you got to have recurring revenue, right? And I learned that, and I'm halfway through my second book, which is called Mastering Recurring Revenue. because I believe every business, if it's a product business, it's a service business, there's multiple models. I believe there's 3 that you can have recurring streams of revenue, and it's key. So I think the fundamental things there is I understood the importance of recurring revenue, and then this idea of urgency and speed, which my whole book's about, right? People want speed. They want momentum. They want alignment. They want rhythm. And when you can create an environment that operates and wins and moves fast, and as a leader, you make decisions, you're decisive, you win. It's that simple. You take action, you win.
Yeah, and there's a number of things you said. One is the D word, and that's the thing that I found we take advantage of in people who aren't, and that's decisive.
Amen.
You know, Judge, some people need, when they make a decision, I almost want to give them a quarter and say, just flip it, heads or tails, and call it. But just flip the freaking quarter, because by the time you wait, that delay kills you.
Yeah.
Especially when you're scaling with speed. You don't scale with speed and have delay. You know, something else you said too is that I think business runs on 2 senses: a sense of urgency and common sense. Everything else is freaking numbers. But you got to move. When people wait for perfect, tell me what happens and how frustrated you are when people are waiting for the perfect time, the perfect opportunity. What do you think about that?
Yeah, one, there's never a perfect time. There's never a perfect opportunity, right? There's not. Those 2 things they don't go together. They don't exist. So, you know, in part of this book right here, and why I wrote it, is speed right now is so important with what's happened with technology, Bill, right? Mm-hmm. And so having the ability to move fast and make decisions fast and take action now is required. There's not going to ever be a perfect time. There's not going to be ever a perfect opportunity. And so I caution any listener listening to this right now, wake up. Like, I just this is awesome. This is why I love doing this. I was inspired. I inspired somebody. I took a coaching call, and he said, I've been watching your stuff. I read your book. And for the last 10 years, I've had this idea, and I've been too scared to do it. I've been too scared to invest in myself. I've been too scared. And he said, today I'm starting. And it gave me goosebumps, man, because you got to go. You got to go. Always forward, right? Your shirt, always forward. I mean, that's what it is.
Always forward when you scale with speed, baby. You really go always forward. Huh? You know, yeah. I got to tell you, you when you get that call, and I've been fortunate enough to get some of those emails, some of those calls, that gives you a feeling that's beyond any kind of monetary gain.
Totally.
I mean, really just manifests what you're all about with your purpose, and really that serve first mentality that you have.
Yeah.
Judge, I love to play with words. I'm really a walking lexicon sometimes, I think, but I really and
you're very verbose, Bill. I have noticed that. I commend your verboseness.
I learned a word. I'll give you a word I learned in school. It's called obfuscation. It means to confuse. And I thought it's been an ally and an enemy for me. All right, because you can't dazzle them with brilliance. You got to baffle them with bullshit, right, Judge?
I get it. Hey.
I call my own. But you mentioned something about the book. You called the book a practitioner's guide for success. And a practitioner is someone that's actually in the practice of doing something, of growing. So tell me what you mean by a practitioner's guide to success.
Well, and this may offend some people listening to this, but that's okay, right? I'd rather be a polarizing figure than not. In my philosophy here is there's so much freaking noise and bullshit out there, right? There's a bunch of academic people that have written books that don't know what it's like not to make payroll, that don't know what it's like to declare personal bankruptcy, that haven't sold companies for millions and hundreds of millions of dollars, that haven't built based from nothing, right? And so for me, this book is about that person in their career that wants to advance, that person that's thinking about doing that business, the person that's growing a business, and they need real substance and actionable takeaways from a practitioner who's done it. You know, I have a podcast I talk about. It's like, if you're going to get advice, only listen to people that have done what you want or more. Besides that, don't freaking ask, and don't give it if you haven't done it.
Great point. It's a great point, because you can ask and you'll get a lot of people with advice, but you shouldn't be listening to those people who haven't done or something you're doing, something even more so than you're doing.
Yeah.
Because success is going to leave those clues. You talk about recurring revenue, which really enables you to make money while you sleep. You want to expand more on the importance of that, other than it's a good night's sleep.
Yeah. So yeah, for sure, it's a good night's sleep. But so recurring revenue, right, is the definition of that is it's predictable, it's repeatable, right? So if you have revenue as an organization to where with predictability, next month with 98% accuracy based on closed contracts, memberships, subscriptions, whatever the model is, right? It could be retainers, you're going to get this amount of revenue. Well, that becomes very powerful, right? It creates enterprise value for an organization. So if you ever want to sell your company and somebody wants to buy it and give you a truckload of cash, they're going to want to have faith, not faith, they're going to want to have accuracy and predictability that the business will sustain without you and it can scale. And so recurring revenue is about generating that ongoing revenue with high level of a degree of accuracy that you're going to get it.
You don't have a business if you don't have an end game. Does that sound like someone you know?
It's so true though, Bill. I mean, if you think about it, we get mired in, we get an idea, right? And we say, we want to go do a business, whether it's a dry cleaner, it's a online business, it's selling these mugs, whatever it is. But we don't take the time to really sit down and go, why the hell are we doing this? What do we want? And Bill, what you'll love, more importantly, when do you want it? It's so important to put a date on something. I tell people all the time, if you don't put a date on something, it's not real, right? So if you put an end game together, it could be, I want to spend more time with my family. I want to work 3 days a week. I want a Ferrari. I want $1 million homes. I want to ski, whatever it is. It now helps you back into the level of effort that you need to put in, the type of career or company you need to start, and the duration and the effort of time needed to accomplish those things. So an end game is key.
Well, you come right out of the gate with that. This is chapter 1, and you're coming right out with the boom. The first thing I read, and I kept reading the book as soon as I caught this first part. You're not running a real business until you know your end game. And then you go into the future. And the key to this book is it's not just a book, it's a practitioner's guide to success and how to scale with speed. And you do get down and show actionable, practical takeaways on how to do it. You've nailed that, but you also have that challenging philosophy that if you don't do this, hey, what happens? What future do you really have?
Yeah, totally.
It's got both in there, and that's one of the things that kept me intrigued with the book. You reference taking action. We both believe in action, quick decisions, always good to take actions right here, right now. How do you make your decisions?
So philosophically, or not philosophically, factually, we're faced with over 30, which is in the book, we're faced with 35,000 decisions a day. And that's increasing with technology, right? And so for me, I've put this framework together to where 98% of them you need to make instantly, right? Brush your teeth, quick decision. And you see people like Mark Zuckerberg and others, they don't even want to think about what they wear. So It's always the same t-shirt, right? But then there's these 2%, Bill, that people, this is where people lose. This is really important for the audience. It's in this 2%. These are decisions that could be harmful for you. You know, if you're nervous to go bungee jump or skydive or do something, swim with a shark, right? And then in a business perspective, it's something that's going to be a high monetary value for you personally. Right. It's signing a 10-year lease. It's making an investment in new furniture. It's hiring that person you know you need, right? It's those types of decisions, and people get scared, right? And they wring their hands, or should I start a company? And they just don't ever make the decision. And so I've put a framework together that allows you to quickly gather the data points that you need and to pro-con out a T-chart to make that decision in 9 minutes or less. That is so key, because those 2% that I'm talking about decisions is the difference between winning and losing. The individuals that can work through and make those 2% decisions, they win. And it's key.
In furtherance to your point, I did a lot of research on willpower. And when you mentioned Zuckerberg and not even picking out and wearing the same T-shirt, that your willpower bars, you have a bar of willpower, it's finite. And it starts to erode every time you make a decision, is as small as what tie do I wear? What shirt do I wear the next day? So the people that are aware of this, like a Zuckerberg, they have their stuff laid out the night before, or they just pick the same thing. It's lined up as 9 black shirts. Same thing with your ties. What tie do I wear? Starts to erode that willpower bar that you need to make that 2% difference, because you can make 98% of choices that don't mean shit. What do I put in here? What do I do? Just bullshit stuff that's just noise and distraction.
It is noise.
Stay on your destination. I love this 2% decision-making process that winnows all the bullshit down into what is vital to run your business and grow your business with speed. I mean,
amen.
There it is. Judge, where can we find you? Because I'm going to say this book, the toughest challenge I think we both had in writing books is to take something that's a relatively complicated subject that we've mastered and really bring it down to something that people can digest in any walk of life, not just business, but make it a life philosophy book. You've done it. Tell me where we find the book.
So the book is at judgegraham.com or scalewithspeed.com. And all my handles are at Judge Graham, but the best place to get it is scalewithspeed.com. On there, I've got a bunch of testimonials. And what's cool with the book, right, is, Bill, you appreciate it. It's a formula, right? Speed is an acronym, right? So it's start with your end game, pick your niche, execute with speed, energize your culture, and dominate your top priorities. So that is the practitioner's formula to success. And then furthermore, I've got a bunch of free downloads that come with the book that literally allow you to take action immediately. How do you build a world-class culture? How do you implement a one-page attack and conquer plan? How do you get your organization spending 75% of their time on revenue-generating activities and much more? So this book is about action, right? This is practitioner, get in the trenches, make a difference, scale your business, make it happen book.
Get out, engage, get in play. You've got some nuggets in here for me. The average office worker receives 121 emails a day and sends out 40.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's a bog, man. That's a slog in a bog. You probably double mine. Right? Kelsey sends all mine out. You mentioned 2 things that are closely aligned. We're closely aligned again in a lot of ways. I think we hit it off right from the start in New York. But we talk about fear. Both of us talk about fear and the need to be able to move through that field of fear. And you talk about harnessing your fear. What do you mean by harnessing your fear?
I mean, I like it. I mean, bring it, right? I mean, I have a core value, a personal core value in every business I have is fearless, right? You got to be fearless. Well, in order to be fearless, you got to freaking embrace that fear, baby. You got to bring it. You got to have it, and you have to overcome it to be better. It's just that simple, right? And then if you create a culture that way, you've got to empower people, right? The bigger companies get and you don't empower people, you lose, right? But if you have a culture where you trust your people and you empower them to be fearless, to make decisions, to take ownership and to take action, you win.
If you don't empower your people, you lose your best minds, and you lose those minds. They walk out the door, or they stay employed but not engaged.
Which is worse.
Which absolutely is worse. And you've got to do that by creating an environment that is free from fear. They're going to fuck it up sometimes. They're going to make mistakes. You have to be okay with some of that bloodletting if you're going to grow and scale with speed. You just have to be okay with it.
Yeah.
Judge, the Ethiopian proverb is, how do you eat an elephant? The answer is one bite at a time. So tell me about breaking your goals down into steps. What do you do in this book to break those goals down into steps? Tell me how that helps me.
So there's a couple things. One, I talk about a one-page attack and conquer plan, right? I know that organizations that aren't transparent, that don't communicate, and don't have alignment, rhythm, and accountability lose. If you have those things, you win. And so there's a couple ways that you do that. This one-page plan frames up no more than 3 goals, because I don't believe an organization can handle any more than 3, right? It should be probably 1 to 2.
Yeah.
But if you're a freaking badass, maybe 3. You communicate, here are those goals, right? Here are the core values that I'm going to allow you to operate against making decisions in your daily empowerment as a team member of this organization. Here's the rally cry that we're going to live to hit this goal. And then here are the owners of the goal broken down into 90-day plans from a leadership perspective that then break down those into their team, that then break it down at the individual level. And there's accountability check-ins every day to every month to every quarter that ladder up. And I talk about a measurement, pivot, and optimization framework. And when you have your team accountable, aligned, and in rhythm, and clearly communicated of what their role is and how they're going to impact that goal, how they're going to be rewarded or how they're not going to be rewarded if that goal isn't hit, and everybody like a freaking Viking ship is rowing, magical.
You mentioned core values. Knowing those core values, people can work as long as they work inside those core values and don't trespass against those core values, and they're in alignment, doing what they have to do. I got to tell you the word that I love, because I use it here in sales and use it in cold calls, that you got to get a rhythm. You got to get a rhythm there's a rhythm to when you're in flow. Rhythm. And you mentioned rhythm 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Tell me why rhythm is important to what you do.
So, and I talk a lot about, how do you get people to focus on revenue, right? So there's a 75% of your time, you should map out 6 to 8 priorities. It's called the money sheet, and focus there. Well, if you can't get in a rhythm and you're not actually doing the things, because nobody wants to do the things that make money because they're tough, right? They're cold calls, they're uncomfortable things, they're putting they're thinking, you're putting proposals together, you're pitching, right? I force this framework to get in that money sheet and stay in the money sheet because it creates rhythm. Right? If you make 50 phone calls, you're going to get 50 no's. But if you stay in rhythm, 51, you get it.
Law of numbers. Tell me about the money sheet, because I'm watching you on Instagram. I'm watching you daily. I'm watching you literally pound pavement, and you're talking to me. And you're talking money sheet, man. Get on the money sheet. Get on the money sheet. Tell me about that money sheet.
Okay. So the money sheet is a simple, and you know what? We use so much digital. This is a tangible piece of paper, right? Because I'm a firm believer, if it's something in front of you visually, it's real, right? So you download this money sheet. It's got obnoxious, $100 bills. I mean, it's just a nasty looking dude, right? And on it, you put what's your monthly revenue target. Everybody should have that. If they don't, you need one, okay? And then you have another column, a simple column that says, where are you pacing today against that, right? So if you have a $100,000 goal and you're halfway through the month and you fill in, you only are at 15,000, you got that should motivate you a little bit, right? And then you have a sheet that's saying, what are the 6 to 8 things that you can do today that are going to get you closer to hitting that month's target? And you need to spend 75% of your time plus, and you have to finish those activities that day. I don't care if you do by 10 a.m. or 12 a.m., you got to finish them and you got to get in rhythm. And if you do that and you're accountable, it'll change your financial future.
I was just going to write the word accountable, because you have to have a personal accountability. And I love the idea of that money sheet. And we're going to capture this piece. I'm talking to the people in my studio, and we're going to use it in here.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll pick this shit up a little bit. We're going to scale with speed now.
I love it, man. Yeah.
Stumble forward, man. You talk about burning your boats. What does that mean to you in terms of commitment?
So people, Bill, and you'll appreciate this because I think you and I are kindred spirits and we've commit, right? We know what freaking commitment feels like, right? And so when somebody tells me, hey, I'm struggling in my business, Judge, or I want to do this and that, I'll tell you, I'll understand. Are you committed? Well, what do you mean? Well, yeah, I'm still working my other job. You're not committed. Well, I'm only doing this 3 hours a day. You're not committed. You need to burn the freaking ship. Right? If you're on the island, I want you to turn around. I want you to take gasoline and freaking blow the ship up. Because until you're in that level of commitment, you're never going to win. Yeah. And so don't come to me crying with bullshit that you're upset that you're not growing because you haven't committed. That's step 2. Get your end game and then commit.
We can go
the
back.
Ships, baby.
When I see you, and we're going to go back and forth on philosophy. Actually not so much back and forth, but we'll probably expand and extend our own. But what I found here in 25 years of hiring and mentoring and coaching people is that the ones that have a plan B when they come in here to do what we do, don't make it.
Lost.
They don't make it. And we can, some people say, but you need to have a plan B. Bullshit. Your plan B becomes your plan A if you with an exit strategy and don't burn your freaking boat.
Yeah.
Plumes of smoke behind you. Tell me again, because I'm loving this show. By the way, you bring more adrenaline and energy than I do. You're probably the first guest that's fired me up more than I fire myself up when I look in the mirror every day.
I love that. Let me see those guns again.
Yeah, man.
Whoa! The gun show.
But where can we find you, Judge?
JudgeGraham.com. But right now, you got to get this book, right? I'm telling you, like, I'm making, like, you know this, but we make no money on this, right? I just struck an airport deal in 2019 in April. I'll be in all the major airports.
Congratulations, buddy.
Yeah. So I'll be in all the Hudson News, all the airports, which is awesome. Do what?
Hell, that's great.
Yeah, maybe we should talk offline about it. Yeah.
Go to the airport and pick up some Judge.
Yeah, but seriously, this isn't a money maker for me. This is a give back. If you're serious about your career, if you're serious about changing your life, if you're serious about thinking of doing a business, you're in a business, this is it, man. This is a non-bullshit book, actionable, make it happen stuff, and it'll change your life. If you read it and you take action, it'll change your life. I mean, it's like anything. It's about consistency, rhythm, accountability, and action.
You know what? You make it sound so simple. But you got to get in the game. You got to engage. You got to burn your boat. You got to know your end game before you ever start. And if you're not scaling with speed, baby, you are dead meat.
Totally.
Recurring revenue, making money while you sleep. See how much shit I learned from you? I'm telling you, I'm getting that money sheet, baby. I am.
Get the money sheet. I'm telling you, it's amazing. Yeah. Go to the money sheet's free. Go to judgegraham.com, hit resources. There's a big link, money sheet. Put your email in and you can download it.
Now you got this wealth of information. You've got a lot of hard knocks school of knowledge. You've earned every scar is manifests your way forward by embracing fear.
Yeah.
If you're going to write something today because you're gone from this earth. So your beautiful children, and their children and their children's children could learn from. One paragraph, man. What would you leave before you went to the grave?
Wow. That's a big, right now I end everything with make it happen. Right. And I believe that's it. So I think that's it for me. Right. I mean, those 3 words, I love it. Those 3 words.
That's a good hair day for you because that's how good you were.
Those 3 words, Bill, for me is everything. Yeah. Right? It's a core philosophy of to me, it's just as big as Just Do It by Nike. Right? Make it happen. Make it freaking happen now. Do it, commit, put in the work, make it happen. No more excuses. Go. So to me, one, I'm going to be cremated, but it's going to say make it happen somewhere. I
was going to say unless you want to be cremated. So but I stopped short of that one. I almost did. I was going to give you the choice on that.
Yeah.
And that's a great one because that's what you said about excuses. And again, you just keep firing up my ideas. But I tell people in here, you either are an excuse or a condition looking for an excuse. I don't use excuses. I don't like it. Don't need excuses. It either happened, you either made it happen, or you did not make it happen.
Right.
Why it didn't happen. Sometimes the why is important. Most times it's not. Right?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, most times it's not because, you go down a slippery slope with that. For more details on Judge's book, Scale with Speed, go to scalewithspeed.com, scalewithspeed.com. Hopefully you can buy a hat somewhere on one of your, right?
JudgeGraham.com.
There you go, JudgeGraham.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the Wooditch Network on Facebook and follow me. My name is, I think today, Bill Wooditch. It should be Judge Graham because I'm so fired up by you, Judge.
I love it, man.
Judge, it's a real name too, Judge. Love that name, man. Always forward, my friend. You are phenomenal.
Thank you, brother. You are too, man.
Seriously, man, you drip substance today. Love it.
I appreciate it. I'm trying to drop knowledge, brother.
Boom. Have a great one, buddy.
You too. Thanks, bud.